In this video, we're going to talk about finding the volume of some circular figures. So finding the volume of cylinders, finding the volume of cones, and then finding the volume of spheres. And in relation to spheres, we've got our hemisphere, so half of a sphere. So first, let's look at cylinders. So our formula for finding the volume of a cylinder is volume equals pi r squared times height. So remember, pi is that irrational number that's 3.14159 ... and it just goes on forever and doesn't repeat. R is our radius. So it's the distance from the center of our circular base to the exterior. That is our radius. Radius is the same thing as half of our diameter. And then height is going to be that straight edge of our cylinder. So from one circular base to the other circular base. So from here to here is our height, or in here. So we're labeling this as our height. What the volume of the cylinder tells us is that the area of our base multiplied by the height gives me the volume, which is actually the same exact way we've looked at volume in the past. So knowing that, I actually can remember that the area of a circle, so the area of a circle is pi r squared. Pi r squared. Which is actually what's happening right here. So this is just the area of our base of our 3D figure. And if I multiply that area by the height, that's going to give me my volume. So that's what we need to think about when we're finding the volume of a cylinder. You're really not memorizing any new formula. All you're doing is going from area, multiplying by the height, and that gives me my volume, just like it does for a rectangular prism or anything like that. You're just stacking these areas on top of each other. So let's do a practice example. So in this example, it says find the volume of the cylinder. It gives me my height and it gives me a diameter. So what I need to remember, if they don't have this labeled for me, is that from here to here, from one circular base to the other circular base, that is my height. And even though that might sound like known knowledge, we just don't want to label the height from here to here just because our cylinder's on its side. Your height is from one circular base to the other. So that, they told me, is 3.5 feet. My diameter is from one side of my circle through the center to the other. I don't need diameter when I'm looking at the volume of a cylinder. I need radius. So if they give me my diameter is 2 feet, I need to divide that by 2 to get my radius, which is going to be 1 foot. So now I have what I need. My equation for the volume of a cylinder is V equals pi r squared times height. They can either ask you to use a number for pi, so something like 3.14. They can tell you to use the physical pi button on your calculator, or they can say to leave your answer in terms of pi. So I'm going to show you all three. So first, let's plug in what we know. I know that, so I know volume is what we're looking for. I'm going to leave pi as pi. R is 1, so in place of the R, I'm going to put a 1 squared times height, which is 3.5. If I am using 3.14 as pi, then I'm just going to replace pi with 3.14. So then I have 3.14 times 1 squared times 3.5. And I would plug that into my calculator. So we would have 3.14 times our radius squared times 3.5. So I would get 10.99. This is volume, so your units are cubed. So feet cubed. That's the answer if they told you to use 3.14 for pi. If you just leave it as the pi symbol, so on your calculator, you'll have the pi symbol as an option. So my pi symbol is right here and it's blue. So I'm going to touch my blue key in that button. I'm going to get my pi symbol times 1 squared times 3.5, and I get almost the same exact thing, right? 10.9955742.9. This 5 would have me round up, would actually have me go up to 11. So instead of being 10.99 feet cubed, we have 11 feet cubed. Or they can ask you to leave it in terms of pi. What that means is all you're going to multiply is everything in your equation except for the pi, because you're just going to put the pi on the end. So I would do 1 squared times 3.5. And that means that I am just going to leave it in terms of pi. So 3.5 pi feet cubed. And that is the same thing as our other values. 3.5 pi, which is in terms of pi, is also the same thing as our 11 feet cubed. So knowing that was a lot of information, but let's look at a word problem. So this word problem says, a cylinder has a volume of 198 centimeters cubed, and its base has an area of 22 centimeters squared. What is the height of this cylinder? My first step when I'm dealing with a problem is I'm going to draw a picture. Well, my first step was really to read the problem through. My second step is going to be to draw a picture. I see the word cylinder in here, so I'm going to draw a cylinder. If you saw the word cylindrical or anything that looks similar to cylinder, like a Diet Coke can or, you know, a glue stick, something that's going to have a cylindrical shape, we would draw our cylinder. My advice for drawing a cylinder is to draw a circle and then two lines extending, an oval, two lines extending, and then half an oval and then a dotted line. Does not have to be perfect. Then I'm going to fill in my known information. So my known information here, I know my cylinder has a volume of 198 centimeters cubed. And its base has an area of 22 centimeters squared. So the area of this base, my circular base, has an area of 22 centimeters squared. It's asking for the height of my cylinder. So what I'm going to need to do is remember my volume formula. My volume formula is the area of the base, which is a circle, pi r squared, multiplied by our height. What I know is the area of my circular base. So I already know pi r squared is 22 because they gave me the area of the base. So I know that this value, pi r squared, is 22. I also know that my volume is 198. And so what I'm looking for is h. So I'm going to just do a one-step equation. I'm going to draw my line. I'm going to divide both sides by 22 so that h is completely by itself. And I'm going to use my calculator because I can. And we get our height is 9. And if you circle back to what those units were, I know that the height is 9 centimeters.